So paradigms. When you're born, you appear into a paradigm. You appear into a new reality. You are now free to do pretty much anything you want to do. You can become something you set out to be. You can become a basketball player. You can become a teacher, a scientist, an astronaut, president of the United States, whatever. But as you grow older, your paradigm starts to shift. When you're first born, your paradigm is your mother and your father and your little bed, maybe a puppy. And then things become more involved in your paradigm. You have siblings, you have uncles and aunts that orbit into your paradigms, like planets orbit around. They orbit in and they leave, and eventually your paradigm becomes more settled. You become a girl or a boy. You start getting clothes that are blue with monster trucks, or you start getting little pink Hello Kitty clothing. Then you're kind of pushed to become like something. You get baptized, or you go into a different religion because of where you live or because of where your family is. Not because of your choice, because at this point you don't have any choices in your paradigm. And as you get older, you go to school and you learn a language, and your language is specific for where you live or specific for where your family is. And then by learning this language, you cut off learning other languages and talking to other people. And then as you get older, you start learning the science of the day. You start learning where you are in reality. You become a person that lives in California, and automatically you don't like people that live on the other coast. Automatically. Or you become a athlete and you have to go against other athletes from different places. They're your competition now, so they're against you. You don't like them because they're not you. You get what's called a not us-ism, which is very prominent. And as you get older, you start running out of time. Say you wanted to be a football player, and your life took you along the path where you didn't have time to practice. So now you're 45 years old, 3 kids, mortgage, the whole kit and caboodle, and now that time of being a football player has gone past you, or you have gone past that time. And the more you get older, the more paradigms you choose. You start to make your own choices. You become a registered voter, or you become a off-the-gridder. You become a Republican or a Democrat. But whatever you become, the ones that aren't you become your opposition. So if you're a Democrat, you automatically don't like Republicans. And whatever thing they come up with, they are wrong because they're not you. Same thing if you're a Republican, you're not like Democrats. And as you get older, you realize that you're, say, for instance, if you live in this country, you're an American. So people from Mexico you don't like because they're not Americans. That's really the only reason. Or they're European, or you live in Germany and they're not German. You lock yourself into a paradigm. And by locking yourself into a paradigm, you lose all the other paradigms. In the Way of the Dragon course, you have to start to get rid of your ingrown paradigms. You have to become what's known as a human being. When the settlers first came to this continent, they had people living here, and every one of them called themselves the people or the human being. The settlers gave them their own names, like Iroquois is a French name, Micmac is a French name. The Micmac called themselves the Lun, which means true human beings. So here comes a bunch of people from England, and they come over and he goes, "What are you guys?" "Oh, we're human beings." "What are you guys?" "Oh, we're English, or French, or Spanish." "And we don't like, or Spanish, we don't like the French because we're Spanish," or "We don't like the English because we're French." So these guys think, oh, they're not human beings yet. Their paradigm is smaller. So with the Way of the Dragon course, you have to learn to push your paradigms together to create another paradigm, a bigger paradigm, to see past the reality that you've closed off, to open the door, so to speak. So for instance, if I have a paradigm where my eyes are closed, everything is dark, I have to have help getting around. I can't drive a car, people have to drive me around. My paradigm is smaller. If my eyes are open, but I only have one eye, I can still move around, but don't expect me to catch stuff when you throw things at me. Because now I'm in a two-dimensional reality. Now if I have this reality, two-dimensional reality, this reality, two-dimensional reality, even though this is perfect in a two-dimensional reality, the best it could be is still not even close to what you can get if you work with both eyes together. Now you have a three-dimensional reality. Well, the same thing works with your brain. So if you're a right brain person, you have given up part of your left brain. If you're a left brain person, you've given up part of your right brain. So the trick with the Way of the Dragon is to learn to put them together. If you're a physical person, you've given up stillness. If you're a still person, you've given up the physicality. So you got to bring them back together. You got to do moving without moving. You have to do whatever you've lost. If you're right-handed, you got to learn to be left-handed. So it's really simple. You start practicing, and we have tricks to make it happen faster. So that's really the whole system. You try to take yourself and make yourself a whole person.